This is Rock and Roll Grad School with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling. Yankee Hotel Podcast.
Hello, kiddies. We are going to have a real good time together because we are talking with the one and only Don Airey.
Oh, yes.
So he is currently a member of Deep Purple. He was in Jethro Tull for a while in the 80s. He played with Ozzy on the first couple tours in the 80s, the Randy Rhoads band, and then played on, was it Never Scared? Was the last Black Sabbath record Ozzy was on before he... So he was been all over UK metal records for decades. And he has
Yes.
a new one out that is a lot of fun. And we say in the interview, like it sounds ageless. It just sounds like just a lovely, wonderful piece of British metal.
Yeah, it's great rocking out music. Like true rocking out.
Yes.
They're in a
And
rock star.
and I think par for the course, Don is the most quiet, unassuming fella
Yeah.
you could talk to.
Yes. Yeah,
What
we've had like a ton of really good interviews. Like I like that you're just sort of, just picking randomly. Not randomly. Like there's a method to the madness, but
there is.
like it's a surprise who we're talking to when you tell me who are.
Right.
So I'm like,
That's a
oh
good
yeah,
thing, right? It's a,
it is,
surprise of
except it is.
it's sort of a this
Oh
is your life without anybody
yeah.
showing up. And I don't,
Telling me that I'm retiring. I don't
yes,
know.
exactly.
No, but no, he was really fun to talk to. The album's fantastic.
Yes. And we talked, let's see, what can we discuss? Well, first off, I had the great fortune to attend this weekend a performance of two of our former guests on the same bill
Yes.
that I don't know if that has happened. I think we have retroactively done it. Um,
Yes. I mean,
talking
our
to
several of our guests have been on the same bill, but I don't know that we've actually been to the shows when they've been.
before, like when we
Right.
saw like X and Psychedelic Furs, we eventually made those two connect. But this one, after the show, did they meet each other through our show? Who's to say? We can't
I don't
say.
know. No.
But I got to see the Ramones and Tragedy, both of whom
Yes.
were lovely. Tragedy, seeing them do a full set, it's even more than what they did just as an opener.
Oh.
And I know what you might say. Yeah, 45 minutes more, dummy.
Oh.
But there's a lot more fireworks, both emotionally and physically, or poppers or something.
I mean, I I don't even know how more could be possible. Their set when I saw them was pretty outstanding and stellar.
There's a lot more of Lance the Towel Boy,
Oh,
at
well,
least than the show I saw previously.
okay.
And the Ramones were straight ahead, no muss, no fuss, really good. Half of the set was cover songs. The other half was their rewriting of Ramon songs.
Excellent.
So they played everything you would want. The PTA took my mommy away, going into
Of
third,
course.
Lego blocks, all your favorites. Gritty as a punk. So it was lovely. So uh, yeah, thank you for a lovely evening, both of you. And then what else we got?
I don't know. I didn't see
Eh,
those bands. I mean,
I
I went
know
to a concert,
you
but
went to a concert, but
well, what I mean, I went to everyone's favorite,
the
local band.
Wonderland Band, right?
The Wonder Band.
Oh, Wonder Band. Sorry. How were they?
They were amazing. They like
Okay.
killed it. Like, full house,
All
rocked
right.
out like nobody's business.
Like
It
no
was
one was
amazing.
watching?
Oh no, like everyone was
Oh,
watching.
okay, good. What's their big what's the one that brings down the house of their songs?
Um, every song brings down the house. They opened with Let's Go Crazy,
Oh,
and
okay.
everybody did.
I'm assuming the Dearly Beloved intro.
Uh, well, yes, of course.
Okay.
I mean, well, Punch Your Afro
Mm.
as he sings the line, which was not correct, but it seems to go over well.
Gets the job done, sure.
Yeah. Of course, we, did wear our matching T-shirts to our respective concerts without knowing.
Unbeknownst to either one of us, we wore our uh, Hot for Pizza t-shirts.
Yes. So Panama was a big deal when I was
Mm,
wearing my Hot for
sure.
Pizza t-shirt.
Of
So,
course so.
hmm
Makes sense.
hmm
Um, what do they end on?
This time they ended on,
Stairway, the end.
no, they did not. They usually end on Fight for Your Right to Party.
Okay, that's something I think we can all
Mhm.
get behind.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing I was going to add, and this is sort of a teaser for an upcoming episode, we did an interview last week with a producer, engineer extraordinaire whose career has covered all different types of music.
One of like a legendary producer.
Yes, yes, I am selling him short.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh, who has worked on many records that you have most definitely heard and know every single word to.
Yes.
And after our interview on over the weekend on Saturday, I was walking around and was playing some of these tracks from these various records over again. And the amount of detail going on in them, it's amazing. The keyboard, he mentioned that he was like, well, I made them put that back in. And then
Yes.
even some of the songs that are artists that he just sort of not even hastily mentioned, but just
No.
offhandedly mentioned.
Right.
You listen to them, there is so much going on there than just the three or four musicians in the group. And it was really, really lovely to go back to those songs and hear new things because so many of them I have heard 100 times before. Everyone has heard 100 times before. And to listen to them again and catch all that stuff, it was a lot of fun. And we are eager to share that with you.
Are we gonna start giving people like pre-homework before our episodes? Is this our new thing?
I don't think so. I don't think we should even say who we talk to. I think we should just be very coy about it and one, sort of lord it over people. But two,
Or are we gonna
um,
start flirting? Is that what we're gonna start doing with our audience? Is just sort of like
I mean,
teasing them a little bit?
yeah, just a little slap and tickle kind of thing. But we're
Oh, all
going
right.
to, um, when you hear this interview, you want to go dig out these records and listen to them again.
Yes.
And it's really, really great. So we look forward to sharing that with you soon.
I can't believe you didn't say just a little kiss,
That's true.
which
That's
doesn't even give it away, which makes it even better.
that's true. It's very, very true.
Because that could be like so many different people.
Yeah, exactly.
This may be the last time before the curtain call. Years of unanswered questions, the system's so tall to fall. In a red extinguished light, and time to set and suns. I lead lives with little dreams on the verge of something more. Moonrise, sunfall. Moonrise, sunfall. There is no way back to the way things
I was
once
listening back
were.
to One of a Kind after listening to the new record a couple times, and that came out in 2018. And so there's nothing that's really changed in the world since then. So, what was the reason you're like, I need to do this record now? Was this stuff that was just rolling over from the last album?
Well, we didn't do it now. We did it in 2019,
Ah,
the backing tracks. And then, of course, COVID loomed. So we left it out. And then we took it up again in 2021. We did all the vocals and the solos that needed doing. And then lockdown came again. So we mixed it in 2022. And then because Simon, my guitarist, as was then, we got him into Deep Purple. Kind of this album went on the back burner
mm,
because we had an album to do with Purple. So I was very surprised I thought, well, I'll never see it again because they won't release it till I'm dead.
Aren't you
So,
glad to be wrong?
so I got a nice surprise when I got the call that they were going to release it, and so I had to listen to it again. No, got another nice surprise. I was quite surprised by it because it's an album that was we made it so quickly, you know.
Is
And
it
that's
now, is it how it turned out now and when
Yeah.
it came to fruition? Is it how you imagined it at the beginning, or did it evolve as you kept picking it up over the years?
Well, I think the idea was that we're in a small studio and we're all kind of in the same room. I said, well, let's do it as though we're playing a gig live. So the
mm,
material, we stretch the material out, you know, there's solos in every track. Um, there's different sections, the different tempos. We just tried to make it, you know, if you were playing in a club, what
That's what
would,
it feels like. I mean, I
yeah,
was
what would
rocking
you
out,
do? Yeah.
getting
So,
ready this
so
morning. That's why
we just rocked, you know,
it,
as best we could. And it was very pressured. And I think the guys, Simon told me that at the end of each day, they go out in the car park and go, oh, we got through that. I wonder what the old boys got for us tomorrow.
it, yeah, because listening to it, it is so intricate, but like you said, there's tempo changes and it really moves all over the place in the best way possible. I can't imagine trying to write that down or play that for somebody and not have them in the same room, making that eye contact and communicating as you're playing. Um, I don't know if you could have made this record any other way.
No, there was a lot of input from the guys, you know. John Finnegan was coming up with different rhythms all the time. And of course, he catches on so quick that any idea he was able to make it happen. And of course, Simon played a big part in it all as well. Well, the whole band did. Yeah.
S-
it,
Were
it
you?
rock. I mean, it
Yeah.
rock. And I mean this is a compliment. This it's timeless. Like you could be in any rockin' era with this album. Like it is, and I am the biggest, like that is where my heart lives and
Yeah.
breathes every minute of every day. So it is phenomenal. And I mean, I was like in front of the mirror just rocking out all day, every day, getting ready for the past few
Yeah,
days as
it's
getting
just,
ready for this interview.
I think what we got was the sound of a band playing.
Yes, that's
And
it.
we're in the studio we're in, which is just outside of Cambridge, you
Yeah,
know, in England. He's got an old Neve desk in there, analog
Mhm.
desk. So he really added something to the sound.
yeah,
Wonderful engineer, Piers Mortimer, gave it a real edge. And it was very exciting.
yeah.
And Piers was great, the engineer. If something wasn't going well, he'd just say, stop. You know,
Perfect.
he'd pull the plug, start again. Come on, you guys, you can do better than that.
And were you
So,
doing this to tape or digital?
no, it's digital. We're Pro Tools,
Mm,
but he's in the studio. He's got a lot of old, you know, echoes and reverbs, the kind of things that glow in the dark when you turn the light on.
Yes,
You know.
the good stuff.
Oh, it was pretty simple. It really is the sound of a band playing.
Yeah,
Um, a lot of the solos are live. We added a few later on. But pretty much it's just us guys doing what we love to do. Yeah.
and you can hear that. And I think the
yeah,
other thing to Heidi's point about it being this record that sounds timeless, it it doesn't have anything that sounds dated on it. There's nothing that
right.
says to you, this was recorded 2019 or this was recorded 1984. You can't put your finger on it.
Yeah.
Um, how did you find these other folks to play with? I mean, you said one of them you kind of nabbed and were like, you got to come in with me in Deep Purple. But how did you find these folks?
Well, Simon, I met him 10 years ago. I run a local festival every 2 years to raise money for the hospitals, my local hospitals, called Blues and Soul. And I'd heard about Simon. So I phoned him up and said, would you come and open the show for me? And he said, I will, but I haven't got a band. Oh, I said, I'll get a bass player and drummer for you. So I got John Finnegan, who lives near me, and I've known him since he was 12 years old, actually. When I got him up a talent night in my local pub. This is years ago. So I've known John all these years, and he's an absolutely wonderful drummer. He's known around these parts as Cambridge's John Bonham.
That's
Um,
amazing.
so when I heard Simon playing at my festival, I just said, "Do you fancy doing some tracks with me?" So he went, "Yes." Carl Senton's the singer. We've been friends for 30 years. We've been writing for 15 years. I didn't know Mitch, the other singer, but he'd worked with Simon, and we got him in for one gig, and he was just so brilliant. I got him in on the album. So that's how it works. Just
Oh,
there's no big overall plan. It's just somehow you meet these people and you think it's by accident. But as Joe Walsh said about the Eagles, we all thought it was chaos, but there was a big plan going on that when you look
it's
back, you can see it.
it's so
Yeah.
true, and it's so amazing how those things work.
Yeah, yeah,
And it seems too, it's not even like you said, it's not foresight. It's not, but like we're having a good time. We're going to record all of these tracks and we'll figure out what we're going to do with them later. To
yeah.
be able to record as much as you did in such a, seemingly shorter amount of time, um, with just doing it because of really having a good time playing together. I can't imagine wanting to or being able to go back to a form of writing and recording that doesn't have that freedom to it of just like, we're just going to have fun with it. Because that really permeates this record. And then also the last one as well. There is a sense of joy, not that all the songs are
Yeah.
100%
Right.
When we're
joyful.
recording, if I look at Simon's usually across the other side of the studio to me, and if I see that he's not, you can see on his face, oh, he's not happy with this. Simon, you got something on your mind? Well, no, no, there's just something, but I think with the riff, if you added this bit, and he'll just come up with something, you go, absolutely. He thinks all the time a lot. Um, how you can improve something. So he doesn't want to destroy it, but he just wants to add to it. So he's a great guy to work with, as is Carl Sentence. He's always got ideas and looking, how can we make this better? So it's a very productive environment for me. But one, as you say, you wonder how it all came together. You know,
Yeah.
I read that wonderful story about the Beatles. George Harrison say, "How did you guys all meet?" They met on the top of a bus,
Right.
Hmm.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
George got on, went upstairs, and John and Paul were up there. They saw he had a guitar, and John said, "Can you play that thing?" "Well, show us."
Yeah.
So he played, and they said, "Do you want to join our band then?"
I mean, it's so true. And I think those are some of the best moments and some of the best stories. It was funny when you were telling that story. I was like, well, I want to live in a world where that happens. And then I realized how Luke and I met was pretty fortuitous too. So I guess I do live in that world too.
But
Not
and
that we're of that level, but we will be.
well, it made me think even of Andy Summers from The Police. His story of how he
Right.
met Sting was on the train, and his memoir is called One Train Later because it's him saying, what if I had just delayed everything by 5 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah,
We could have gone a completely different direction with different
Yeah.
people.
yeah.
And I mean, it's so weird. Like you just put this in the drawer and was like, I'm not going to listen to this. How could you not? I mean, not that you sit around going, man, I'm pretty good on this track. This is great. Uh, did you have like a,
I've learned with albums, a funny thing is that they have more control. The work has its own kind of life.
hmm,
It will come out when it wants to. I've noticed that a lot with albums. There's sticking points, and I remember with the Whitesnake album, we made it in 1985,
Mhm.
and it just wouldn't come out. There was all kinds of problems, so it didn't come out till 87.
Mhm.
And of course, it's called 87, but
Right.
if it had come out in 85, it probably would have done nothing.
It's true.
It's weird how things happen. And
It's like
there's
they know.
something greater going on that even someone like me has realized.
Yeah, it's true. And it's true because I do feel like the great albums are living, breathing things. They are their own personalities. It's like they
Yeah,
do know what to do. They do make their own decisions of what they're going to
they
do
do.
and how they're going to behave. You're right. The universe tells
We,
us.
we booked 5 days in the studio for this album. So we're doing 2 tracks a day and then an extra one, on hold. So it got to the Friday and we're finished. And Dave Marks had to go off to London because he was playing at the Palladium. So we still had 2 hours left. So I said to Simon, let's do something. What can we do? I was feeling nostalgic. So we came up with, the girl from Highland Park.
I was
Just,
wondering about that.
Ah,
yeah, it was just a little instrumental. It was just me, John Finnegan, and Simon. And it came out of nowhere. And you can hear it because Simon doesn't play on the middle bits because he doesn't know what I'm playing. And I don't know what I'm playing.
it's
And
even better.
it doesn't matter so much with John because he can just keep up playing the drums. But I said, oh, that could do with an acoustic solo there. So Simon said, well, I haven't got an acoustic, but I've got a pedal that makes an electric sound like an acoustic. And I went, get out of here. And, he showed me, and he just did one take. It's the most beautiful solo.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
And it is great. It's a great respite with the rest of the songs on the
Yeah.
record. You've got strings, you've got all of this stuff going on,
Mm.
and then this nice little, uh, I don't know if it's melancholic or just a wistful
It was,
tune.
I think that's the word. That's the word I'm looking for, wistful. We got to the end of this very intense week, and I suddenly went, oh, we finished. What can we do? So we just came up with that girl from Highland Park.
And these songs, did you write them long before? Have you been carrying these around, or was this just, we're going to go in, let's have
We
some
had two
songs?
days rehearsal before, the week before, with Simon, Carl, and John, where we just were tossing riffs about. Carl and I had a bit of a back catalogue, stuff we'd written before. I think Gods of War is 3 songs that we'd written before that we just chopped down and joined them all together. Um, so it was fairly easy finding the material. There's plenty to choose from. It was just, making it all rock. That's that's the hard bit. Yeah,
Well, but also there's the editorial side of things.
yeah.
The being okay with losing the rest of the song for one section of it. Is that something as a writer and as a musician you've always been okay with doing to kind of cannibalize one song to put to something else? Or did it take you a while to learn this is for the greater good and some
It's
songs are
kind of
going to die?
very much of the moment.
Mm,
With Gods of War, I said we need some track here that really shows off. That's heavy, but it shows off what we can all do. And Carl remembered this the heavy riff bit, and then we had another song, and it just all seemed to fit together very very quickly. But it was funny. It was to do it all in one session
yeah.
with live solos. It was pretty intense. And when we got to the end of the keyboard solo bit where it changes and we finished, everybody thought it could come to the end, including Piers, the engineer. And Piers said, "Oh, that sounds amazing." And the guys were going, "Oh," and I said, "Look, we haven't finished yet." What? I said, "We've got to do the end bit again with an ending." I said, "I got the ending." So it was probably the hardest bit of the song as well, the ending. But
That's
again, we did it very, very quickly, the catch on. That's your job as a musician, you know, that's what you get paid for. Um, yeah.
Did you realize in that week of recording that like, oh, this stuff is coming together really well. This band is gelling. We're in a groove, and this is something really special that we are fortunate enough to be able to capture? Or was it only in listening back where you go, wow, we were really, was it just trying to keep ahead of the tiger chasing you for the whole week?
Yeah, yeah, it was the deadline was the thing.
Mm,
We didn't have that much time. I think I was off on tour the next week, so I had to get it done. You know, I mean, Leonard Bernstein said a great thing. He said, for great work, you've got to have a plan, but not quite enough time to put it into practice.
Mm.
So true.
And it's very true. You know, if you got the devil snapping at your heels, come on, come on, come on. Yeah.
It's so, so true in everything.
People who I know, writers who work for television, and they say, when do you want it? Yesterday.
Hmm.
Well,
Which is
here
the
it is.
worst thing.
So you hand it in and they go, no, tomorrow will do.
Right. But did you know that obviously you knew everyone was so talented and you knew what they could do and what they could pick up, but did you know that they would gel with one another the way they did?
Well, no, it was a band that we had worked together as a band. You know,
You all had worked together before.
we 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 have this little band that I used to do once a year, 3 week tour of clubs and
Yeah,
small theatres.
that's amazing.
Anywhere that they have us really, and the tour bus with a trailer on the back with all the gear in, a couple of road crew. We all had to pitch in, you know. Um, One of those things, you don't realize how wonderful it is after a gig. You're driving through the Slovakian mountains
Yes.
that are covered in snow, and everyone's sitting there with a beer in your hand, and well, it ain't been a bad day.
Right? It's the best.
Are, are you gonna head out again
Yes.
I
with
think
this
we will,
record?
yeah, later in the year. I
Good.
think it'll be in the autumn. We'll put something together with this, and I know all the guys are very keen to keep it going. You know,
Yes.
And so the Live in Hamburg lineup, is that the same group from the
um,
2021 record?
probably. I think Lawrence Cottle played bass on that, didn't he? The Live in Hamburg.
I don't have the liner notes in front of me.
Yeah, it was Lawrence. Um, I don't know whether, I mean, it just depends on people's availability.
Of
You know,
course.
people are busy. Lawrence is always busy. Dave Marks he's never at home. I don't think he knows where his home is. But, you know, we'll definitely, cometh the hour, cometh the man, you know, cometh the men. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
It's
and
amazing.
this whole process of writing and playing, like I feel like given the skill of everyone involved, that it takes, a long time to get to the place where you can have the ability to just go into a room and follow somebody's kind of, bar napkin sketches of, I think this is what we're going to do, and here's the chord changes. Um, do you think you could have made these records and these songs earlier on in your career, or did it take you sort of that lifetime of learning to get to this point where you could just go in and wing it?
Well, yeah. I mean, experience plays a great part. Um, Mo Foster, the famous session bass player who played with Jeff Beck and everybody, he said a great thing. He said, "The older I get, the better I was." You know, you have that view of yourself when you were younger. And obviously, as you get older, you lose that spark to a great extent that you had when you were younger. But what you gain is the experience of how to come up with the goods. It might not be as great as it was when you were of the age when you're in your 20s, but you can certainly give a very good account of yourself and be a service to music still. You know, we used to think when I was first in rock bands, we were like professional footballers. You know, when you're 32, your career will come to an end.
Hmm.
Now, the fact that a lot of us are still going is quite amazing.
Does it
Amazing.
surprise you?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely it does. Not to speak, I mean, when you're doing a sound check for a gig and you got a couple of grandchildren standing
Yeah.
on stage, you know, no, this ain't so bad. I never saw
Yeah.
my grandpa doing a gig. I was,
Right. Yeah. What would
Amazing.
what was your training going into all of this? Were you a musical family? Were you
oh
guys?
yeah, very musical. I've got two brothers, both of whom ended up as musicians. Um, my father and mother played piano, and my dad taught me to play piano. Went to piano lessons. I was quite a good classical pianist. I ended up in, the Royal Manchester Conservatory.
Amazing.
But God, you've got to be so good to be a concert pianist. And
Yeah.
you know, I worship the ground those guys walk on, but I don't think I could have walked on it myself.
Yes and no. I mean,
Right.
l- these two records, I have to say, there are moments when the keyboards kind of come rising up out of the guitar solo as this sort of one-upsmanship.
Yeah,
And there
I'll
is
show
that,
it.
yeah, and there's just that you get that kind of just very pleased grin on your face listening to it, where you're just like, ah, this feels so
There's a
right. And
lovely
this,
track on Push to the Edge, Moon Rising.
hmm
And there's a great bit. I don't know how we came. It was really pretty much improvised in the studio. I said, let's have some keyboard and drum breaks. We'll put it there, and then we'll follow with a guitar solo. And it's live, you know, it's pretty much live, and it was very exciting. I mean, Finnegan was really playing at his greatest, And I saw the look on Simon's face when it came to his turn. He just went, "I'm going to show those two," and he does as well. It's quite amazing the guitar playing. After we've done our stuff, and then he comes chiming in, and
in
it's live. It's just spontaneous. Yeah.
But it's so fascinating, especially, I mean, I'm not shocked when you say that you grew up and were taking classical piano, and I know you've done stuff that, variations on Paganini and these other composers. Uh, but it's just such an interesting confluence of things. Did you ever find as you're working on this stuff and other things, people saying, We don't want that. We just want simple, Hammond chords in the background, nothing fancy." Were you always fighting to get the sound that you've got out, or were people
I mean,
welcoming of it?
part of the job of being a keyboard player is you provide the backing to, I mean, especially in rock, to the guitar player. Now, guitar players are very strange people. They're very insecure. More talented they are, you know, the more eccentric and unsure of themselves, because they don't really know how they do what they do. I remember a story about Randy California was in a band with Hendrix early on, and he said, "Jimmy, how are you getting those sounds?" And Jimmy went, "I don't know, man." He just didn't know. So when you're a keyboard player, you do know how you do it. So you've just got to take charge of the situation to a certain extent without letting the guitar player know, and just make him feel comfortable. And that's part of the thing. And I'm very proud of some of the backing tracks I've done. To Richie, um, and to Randy, and Gary Moore especially.
Mm.
I think I really helped Gary to just be happy with what he was doing, because I went, well, this is how we do it. How about doing this something different at the end? You just got to collaborate with them and hope that the magic happens, and it usually always does. Yeah.
So, I mean, you're also, in some ways, learning how to be a band leader. And then it comes to the session where it's just like, follow me, boys. We're going to do this.
Yeah. I mean, there's two arts of leading. You can lead from behind, which is what I do in a say with in a group situation like Rainbow or something, or even with Purple. You've just got to be at the back, but trying to push things forward. But with this situation, with push to the edge, I really was leading the charge. And just trying to get the best out of people. That's what you hope for. You can't tell people what to do. You just have to provide the milieu which sparks something in them, and in yourself as well, you hope.
Yeah, hopefully it's the same
Most
spark.
of all.
Yeah.
Yes, you first. And hopefully
Oh,
they figure out the same
we're getting a
thing.
bit esoteric here, aren't we?
I know.
Well, and it's so great to hear these stories and what you're still putting out, and it's such a high level of work now. I know you've been working on your memoirs. What's it been like going back and reliving some of your kind of glory days? Has it affected your playing, or have you
Well,
go, I got to
suddenly,
dig that record out again?
yeah, I've listened to a few things that really amazed me. I couldn't believe what I'd done. The Sabbath record I did.
Mhm.
I was quite cool. God, who's that playing keyboards? Oh, it's me. But I remember the sessions. They were quite amazing. And just the milieu I grew up in, when the Beatles came out, it was a different world then, and it was so exciting. One day we were just all going along in black and white, and suddenly the world on January the 11th, 1963, the world went into Technicolor when the Beatles came out with Please Please Me. I mean, the world changed for all of us. It was weird.
Push to the Edge, the new album by Don Airey, is available March 28th from Ear Music, wherever you get your music.
Rock and Roll Grad School is produced by the Professional Production Company. Please be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, because your impassioned review is just as honest as us standing backstage waiting to come back on for the encore. For more information, you can check out our website, rockandrollgradschool.com, and like everyone else, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Today's show was recorded and produced by Heidi Hegquist and myself from our world headquarters located on the second floor of the professional office building, centrally located downtown. Our reluctant executive producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing executive producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our intern is Zach Jackson. This one's for Philippe. Thanks for joining us. Good night, drive safe, and may all your favorite bands stay together.